This month, instead of doing a meeting like we did last month, we're going to do an extended pre-shift. So we're going to talk about some different topics briefly, and each of the managers, including myself or Ian, Robert, and Laura, will be sitting down with you and going over your check-in score and different areas where we can improve. Just because as we get into summer, all of those things we want to make sure are fine-tuned and ready to go. So just a brief pre-shift, extended pre-shift. Positive attitude. Attitude plays a lot into it, and we never want to see a guest walk away and think that we were rude, or we didn't do everything that we could, or we weren't empathetic. And I know it's hard at times because we deal with a lot of different interesting, crazy situations, but a positive attitude is what we have to have all the time, as best as we can. And bubbliness, I know I've kind of started talking about bubbliness as far as your personality, but that loud, outgoing, enthusiastic welcome to the guests is demonstrated consistently in our check-in scores, as far as who's giving that type of welcome and how their scores are, and it sets that impression for the guest and for the hotel and for the rest of their stay. So positive attitude, a must, and bubbly personality is something that those of you that have it, keep it up, and those of you that aren't there, that's where we need to push and keep growing towards. Next topic is posting in the lobby. So lately, myself and Laura and Ian and Robert have been talking about posting in the lobby and just being out there for our guests and not being behind the desk as much. And I know we're doing a lot of work, which is great, and we have our checklist that we'll touch on later, but we want to make sure that someone's posted in the lobby. And it should be a really cool job because you're basically out there greeting guests and directing them and answering questions and making sure that first impression or that second or third impression of the hotel is constantly being reaffirmed and is positive. And with that said, none of this, Robert. We don't need to be slouching, we don't need to be posting, we don't need to be leaning over the desk, have our chin, none of that. It just doesn't give off that impression that we're open and welcoming and inviting to the guests. Because a lot of times guests don't want to ask us questions because they don't think that we have time or that we're inviting, and that's why we ask, how may we assist you? Because as soon as you ask that question, a lot of guests that didn't have a question or we're going to save it for something else, now we'll talk to you and you've increased that engagement piece. Web check-in, I know I've been talking about different things, but I'm looking for your ideas as how we can improve that. It's not going to go away. The kiosk may go away down the road, but web check-in is a service that guests have, and that's going to become more important. And so how are we handling those? How are we differentiating? How are we taking that not very good check-in score at 41.7 right now and making it better? Because the kiosk isn't doing a bad job, but are we ignoring the guest? Are we letting them figure it out for themselves? Or are we connecting and engaging with them? We care and empowerment. I know we have We Care and Attendant, and I keep preaching the same thing as far as putting them in. And during the summer, we'll have lots of We Cares. So I encourage you to keep putting them in, and we'll take care of them, and we'll handle them. And if you handle them, then that's great too. And you're empowered to take action and do things. So we may have conversations, you and the managers, as far as why did you do that, or could you have done it differently? That's not saying you did something wrong. That's just looking for different ways to improve, to make sure we get the best bang for our buck, and we find that engagement connection piece with the guest. It's not always just throwing money at them. That's not what the guest wants all the time. We created a new checklist for rooms control and front desk, so you'll see that over the next few days. And then our mission statement, which is up here, and I want, when we all come back here and we talk, I want all of us to sign it, read it, and sign it, and agree to it, and focus on that during the summer, because ultimately we are here for the guests, and that's our primary focus. So keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate all your hard work, and let's keep that check-in score and NPS going forward.